Welcome to Cinema Bites, your go-to for movie recaps in a flash. Big twists, epic moments, all in just minutes. Our film begins with people covered up and hiding their faces. We start to understand why they are doing this. Zombies are everywhere, and there is no escape. They try to fight them with every weapon, but they don't end. One of the masked people begins to tell his story. He is our friend, Benny, and he shares how one day he decided to go with his brothers to the forest to hunt birds. Each of them carried their weapon, something they couldn't do without. That day, Benny didn't realize what was coming because they decided to stay up late in the forest for a change of scenery. He woke up to find his brothers missing. He looked to his left and found one brother dead, covered in blood. He looked to his right and found his other brother standing frozen in place. When he approached his frozen brother to check on him, he was shocked to see his face had changed completely. His brother had turned into a zombie, and both brothers left him alone. The zombie brother started crawling toward him to bite him. To make him stop, Benny shot him in the knee, but the zombie kept crawling toward him to kill him. When Benny aimed at his head, he hesitated to shoot, but that was a mistake. He should have killed him. His brother was no longer his brother. He had become a bloodthirsty zombie, killing people without mercy. The reason for the death of his family and friends. Looking at his friend Barry, Benny asks him, "What's your story?" Barry replies, "I won't tell you except that today, I killed my wife and daughter with my own hands, something I never want to remember at all." Now we see Barry's life, the one he doesn't want to talk about. It was a happy life consisting of a father, mother, and daughter. A completely normal life in a city they thought was safe. They lived there for years without anything abnormal happening. We move to his sister, named Brookie, who becomes the troublemaker of the film and turns the city upside down with her actions, owns an unusual photography studio. As you can see, she photographs strange cases, a girl with her face painted like a clown, tied up with chains everywhere, moving in creepy ways with her face. Everyone is happy, taking pictures and having photo sessions at her studio, until something strange happens suddenly. The clown girl starts moving her whole body in terrifying ways. Then she attacks one of the people and kills her. Brookie is shocked by the crazy woman who ate the girl's flesh. She quickly climbs to the ceiling to avoid being reached. Using her wits, she manages to tie the woman with the chains. Brookie climbs down, still in shock at what happened. She notices that the bitten girl has already turned into a zombie. So, she grabs her axe and attacks her without hesitation. Now, she leaves the studio to save herself but is shocked to find the streets full of zombies. Brookie feels surrounded and calls her brother, waking him. She tells him that the city is no longer safe and they need to leave immediately. At first, he doesn't believe her. He wonders how the city could have changed so drastically from the peaceful morning he experienced. But he starts to doubt when his terrified daughter comes to him saying, "Dad, I saw a thief in the kitchen." Barry goes to the kitchen, scared that what his daughter said might be true. When he turns on the light, he sees someone eating raw flesh. He turns on the full light and, unfortunately, sees a zombie. The zombie charges at Barry to attack him, but his wife intervenes, stabbing it with a knife. However, the knife doesn't affect the zombie at all. So, she grabs the axe and hits it with all her strength, which manages to injure it slightly. Barry finally gets the courage to finish the zombie with the axe. They wear protective gear against the infection and quickly leave the house to find a safer city. They are shocked by the sheer number of zombies outside. They shoot some of them with their weapons and then drive away as fast as they can, hoping to survive another day. Meanwhile, Brookie returns to the ceiling of her studio after being trapped. If she steps outside, she will be bitten. She feels a bit relieved when she sees people arriving with weapons, shooting the zombies and opening the studio door. They look at her with intimidating eyes and tell her to come down. Brookie climbs down, feeling uneasy about their intentions. They inject her with a strange substance. They take a blood sample from her and keep her tied up until the test results come back. One of the soldiers confirms that she is clean and free from infection, and takes her. Brookie is terrified because she doesn't know where they are taking her. Before they leave the studio, one soldier tries to sedate her, but Brookie manages to drop the sedative to protect herself. The soldier punches her in the face, knocking her unconscious. Now we see Barry trying to escape with his family, but his wife notices something strange happening to their daughter. They stop the car to check on her, but their daughter has turned into a zombie. The two of them step out of the car, unable to comprehend that their daughter is gone. They don't do anything to her or kill her. Instead, they get back into the car with her as if nothing happened. As they drive, Barry's wife starts feeling nauseous, a symptom of the infection. She tells Barry the shocking truth so she can say goodbye properly. His wife, however, refuses. Crying, she says goodbye and hugs him in an emotional scene. Suddenly, Barry looks beside him and realizes she is no longer herself. She has turned into a zombie. She attacks him viciously. Barry quickly gets out of the car, heartbroken over losing her. He walks away, still in shock and disbelief. His wife, now a zombie, follows him, trying to bite him. Barry knows he can't avoid killing her anymore, so he shoots her in the leg to stop her. He looks at her for the last time in his life and says, "I'm sorry." Then, he shoots her in the head, saying goodbye again. Afterward, he goes to his daughter and tries to take his own life. Unfortunately, the gun is out of bullets. So he screams in the forest in anger and grief. Now we see Brookie, who has woken up from her unconscious state. She is chained and gagged in a terrifying place. She looks around, trembling at the horrifying scene before her. Humans like them, and the other half are zombies. Then a man with a very frightening appearance enters the place with no smile on his face. In his hand, there's a very large syringe, and no one knows what this lunatic plans to do with it. He first draws blood from the zombies, then approaches Brookie with terrifying looks and injects her. Brookie had no choice but to obey him. The lunatic injects the zombie blood into Brokie's neck, causing her to scream in pain, unheard by anyone. Meanwhile, Barry sits on the sidewalk in shock over what happened. He sees someone named Shulker, whom he initially mistakes for a zombie, but is surprised to find he is a normal human just like him. Barry takes Shulker's weapon to attempt suicide again, but Shulker wrestles it away and fights him. Their loud noise attracts a lot of zombies, and Barry starts fighting them fiercely, as if avenging his lost family. Afterward, Barry asks Shulker to kill him, but Shulker doesn't pay attention to his plea, punches him in the face, and takes him with him in the car. Barry regains consciousness and breaks free from the car. Shulker confronts him, pointing a weapon at him, but then tries to calm him down, saying, "We're all in the same boat. Everyone has their own tragic story, not just you." Barry finally calms down and speaks, saying, "Take me to my sister. She's all I have left." Shulker agrees, and they set off. On the way, they encounter zombies surrounding them. Barry steps out and fights them savagely, seeing them as the beasts that killed his family. He then gets back in the car and runs over the remaining zombies. Unfortunately, after driving a few kilometers, the car breaks down, leaving them with no choice but to find another vehicle on foot. They walk through the forest hearing strange noises as if someone is watching them or zombies are chasing them. Suddenly, a bullet strikes Shulker's head, killing him instantly. Barry screams in disbelief, unable to comprehend why everyone he knows ends up dead. He looks into the forest and sees the shooter, Benny, who mistook Shulker for a zombie like the others. Zombies quickly surround them due to the noise, but Benny reveals advanced weapons for killing zombies, obliterating them with a single shot. Meanwhile, Brookie, still held captive by the mad doctor, witnesses him killing someone next to her in a bizarre manner. He injects her with more zombie blood, claiming that only 5 more doses are needed for the miracle to happen. Back to Barry and Benny, they find another car to steal, but notice someone fighting zombies nearby. They call out to him, and he lets them into the garage after a big fight with the surrounding zombies. Inside, they meet other survivors who haven't turned into zombies yet. Frank shares shocking information. Flammable gases and fuel no longer ignite as they used to. He demonstrates by lighting a fire, which extinguishes immediately. They spend time eating, drinking, and smoking together. When one of them throws a cigarette on the ground, it ignites zombie blood, surprising everyone. They realize that in the zombie apocalypse, energy comes from zombie blood. They experiment with using the blood as fuel for a car engine, and it works. They now have a plan: collect more zombie blood to fuel their escape. They gather fresh meat to distract the zombies and kill them one by one. However, the overwhelming number of zombies proves too much. Sadly, one of them, named Kel, gets bitten. They notice his transformation, and Barry steps in to kill him, but Frank hesitates, unwilling to lose his only friend. Frank changes his mind when Kel tries to bite him. They kill Kel and use his blood as fuel for the car, despite Frank's grief. Now ready to escape, Barry insists on finding his sister in a safe city first. He ventures into the forest alone to explore, and encounters a zombie emerging from beneath him. He freezes in place until he manages to kill it. As they drive, the car suddenly breaks down again. Despite being filled with zombie blood, the engine won't start. They check on the zombies in the car and find them alive and well. They realize the blood isn't working as fuel at night because zombies use it for themselves during this time. In the daytime, zombies rest and don't use their blood, making it usable as fuel. This explains why zombies are more active at night, attacking anyone they encounter. As night falls, zombies swarm the car. The group has no choice but to stay inside the vehicle until morning. It's the longest and darkest night they've ever faced. They try to talk and pass the time, but it's hard. Billy covers himself and starts dreaming of numerous nightmares, all about his family that passed away. He looked at the zombies with eyes full of vengeance and anger, and he kept shooting at them with his gun, blaming them for destroying his life. But then, something very strange happened to one of the zombies. Flames erupted from its entire body, and the fire reached the car, which was on the verge of exploding. It was a night that refused to end. Billy climbed on top of the car to extinguish the fire. But, of course, the zombies surrounded him from every direction, moving with an unnatural speed. Billy tried to kill as many of them as possible while his friend helped him fight them off. But no matter how much they shot, it was useless. Billy didn't give up and insisted on putting out the fire he had caused. Sadly, something happened that caused the group to lose yet another member. A zombie bit Franco and devoured all his fingers. Franco screamed and ran deeper into the forest, but the zombies swarmed him even more. Billy finally extinguished the fire and closed the car again. Franco handed him the gun and said, "Kill me." Billy, filled with sorrow, took the gun and ended Franco's life as the group kept losing members one by one. Finally, morning came after the longest night they had ever experienced. The fuel started working again, mixed with zombie blood, and they set off to search for Billy's sister. His sister was trapped in the laboratory of a mad scientist, unsure of when she would escape. She exploited the scientist's sleep to use her powers. She managed to control the zombies in front of her, making one grab a knife and free her effortlessly. She also manipulated them to move around as she wished. Meanwhile, Billy and Benny were in shock and grief over their fallen comrades, who had sacrificed themselves to save them. They drove the car again, and on the way, Billy saw a little girl who reminded him of his daughter, whom he had killed with his own hands. As they continued their journey, they encountered a group of insane soldiers who kidnapped anyone still alive to use them as test subjects while they themselves survived. Billy was startled by their masked appearance, which resembled soldiers. One of the soldiers asked, "What are you doing here?" Billy told them he was heading to another city to find his sister, Brooklyn. The soldiers deceived him, claiming they had his sister. They didn't even know who his sister was or that she was their test subject. They lured him by saying, "Follow us, and we'll take you to her." Billy reluctantly followed them in his car, feeling uneasy about their lies. He whispered to Benny to prepare his weapons because he sensed something was about to happen. Meanwhile, Brooklyn was still trying to use her special powers to control the zombie in front of her to free her from the black restraints. But the scientist woke up as soon as the zombie moved toward him. Furious, he quickly grabbed a gun and killed the zombie mercilessly. He realized Brooklyn had discovered secrets she wasn't supposed to know. "You weren't supposed to learn about your powers. Now you're a danger to humanity." He fetched the deadly syringe he had used to kill her fellow captives. But luckily for Brooklyn, one of the devices malfunctioned, and the scientist went to fix it. She seized the opportunity to control another zombie, ordering it to free her from the restraints and attack the mad scientist. The zombie bit him, and as the scientist tried to defend himself, he grabbed a chainsaw to cut off his bitten arm. He then rushed toward Brooklyn with the chainsaw, intending to kill her. But before he could reach her, he turned into a zombie himself. Brooklyn controlled him, making him untie her restraints. She grabbed his gun and finally killed him, putting an end to his madness. Brooklyn escaped the torturous lab, only to discover she wasn't in a laboratory or clinic, but inside the soldier's vehicle. Billy, who had been following them, saw her. The soldiers realized who she was and tied up Billy and Benny in the car. A fierce battle broke out between the insane soldiers and Billy and Benny, who were still alive. Brooklyn finally managed to escape the vehicle, unable to believe she was free from the nightmare she had endured. The three of them fled from the soldiers, who were relentless in their pursuit. After escaping, the group noticed there were no zombies around, as if they were too scared to approach. Billy even called out to them, but there was no response. They later discovered the reason: Brooklyn's ability to control zombies and manipulate their nerves. She ordered a zombie to get into their car, and to their shock, it obeyed her commands. There was no time to process this revelation, as the soldiers were closing in on them. The soldiers shot Benny, who was gravely injured. Billy quickly helped him into the car and drove off in an attempt to escape. Brooklyn was horrified by Benny's severe wound, where his intestines were exposed. Despite his condition, Benny told them to leave him behind because he was dying anyway. But Billy refused, saying, "We're not leaving. We'll survive together." Brooklyn, however, began to feel unwell, vomiting and experiencing extreme fatigue. She confessed, "I feel like a zombie but still able to talk. I want to end my suffering." Before she could take her own life, the soldiers arrived. She turned the gun on them, killing one of them. Billy took the gun from her and told her to hide and not be afraid. She obeyed, hiding from the people who had tortured her. Meanwhile, Billy and Benny were captured and tied up in the soldiers' vehicle. The soldiers revealed to Billy that his sister was a danger to humanity and that the scientist's experiment was incomplete. They demanded he call her out so they could take the necessary actions. Billy refused. The soldiers tortured him with electric shocks to force him to comply. Out of desperation to save her brother, Brooklyn surrendered herself to the soldiers, much to Billy's despair. "We must cut off her head and put it in the fridge. That's what our great doctor would have done if he were alive." Right now, Barry doesn't know what to do to save the girl from their madness. Benny heroically sacrificed himself and let the zombies get him, so Rocky could control him and save her from them. The plan worked, and he started attacking the soldiers with his weapon. But one of the soldiers killed Benny. Now it's just Barry and his sister, and they still don't know if she's a zombie or human. Now she's calling all the zombies to defend her. She warns the soldiers that if they don't drop their weapons, she'll unleash the zombies to spill their blood. The soldiers refuse to drop their weapons and insist on killing her. All the zombies attack the officers and take them down, except for one soldier who shoots Rocky. After she's killed, all the other zombies die along with her. Barry is left shocked by the scene, now completely alone. He calls out to the remaining soldier and challenges him to fight. The soldier agrees, and they fight hand-to-hand without weapons. The challenge is simple: kill or be killed. Unfortunately, the soldier is stronger and defeats Barry. He even grabs his gun and shoots Barry all over his body. But Barry refuses to lose the fight. He grabs a matchstick that fell from the car and uses the zombie blood on the soldier's face, which is flammable like gasoline. He throws the matchstick on his face, setting his entire head on fire. Suddenly, we're shocked to see Rocky rise from the dead, stronger than before. She commands all the zombies to attack the burning soldier, and he dies a horrific death. A few days after the incident, we see more soldiers like them. This time, Barry and Rocky stop them and tell them to drop everything they have for their own good. The soldiers threaten to kill him with their weapons if he doesn't comply. Rocky orders all the zombies to attack the soldiers mercilessly. Now, Rocky has become the queen of the zombies, controlling them with ease. Barry feels safe as long as his sister is by his side, protecting him. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get more new videos.